And we have so anyway the floor goes to Isabel Anatol Gabriele. Understands that we have Liverpool now. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The property of Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City was inscribed in 2004 on the World Heritage List and in 2012 on the list of World Heritage in danger on the basis of the potential danger that the Liverpool Waters Development Project constituted to the World Heritage property. The committee also considered at that time the possibility of deletion of the property from the list of World Heritage should the project be approved and implemented. Since 2012, the committee has reviewed every year the state of conservation of the property and has adopted decisions requesting the state party to reconsider the proposed Liverpool Waters development and stop granting consent to development project before a desired state of conservation for the removal of the property from the list of World Heritage in danger is adopted and a set of corrective measures with a time frame for their implementation is developed. The committee also reiterated in its decisions its serious concern that the Liverpool Waters project would irreversibly damage the continued coherence of the architectural and town planning attributes, as well as the conditions of integrity of the property. The state party has engaged in the preparation of a number of key documents and tools to address the committee decisions. Two statements of desired state of conservation for removal have been submitted by the state party in 2014 and 2016 and reviewed by the World Heritage Center and the advisory body ICOMOS. Furthermore, and since the publication of the State of Conservation report for the 41st session of the committee, the State Party has transmitted the 2017-2024 management plan of the property for review by the World Heritage Center and the advisory body ICOMOS. The State Party also transmitted a response to the ICOMOS technical review of the 2016 desired state of conservation. The State Party response addresses the issue of applying a moratorium on planning permissions to the whole property until the DSOC is agreed and states that the earliest a DSOC could be agreed would be July 2018. In the meantime, and in the framework of paragraph 172 and 174 of the operational guidelines, the State Party has replied to requests by the Centre on 5 development projects, among which one is situated within the buffer zone, the Obatus 1 tower, and one, the Infinities Towers, is located immediately adjacent to the buffer zone. The State Party informed the Secretariat that the Liverpool City Committee has approved both projects. In the same response, the State Party provides new information on the proposal for a 32-story tower within the Princess Dock area of the Liverpool Waters development and within the buffer zone of the property. The Secretariat was informed that Historic England has been consulted and has not lodged any objection. However, the Secretariat did not receive its report nor an impact assessment. Mr. Chairperson, the current draft decision in its paragraphs 11 and 12 takes stock of the different committees' decisions as well as of the responses and exchange with the State Party. With your permission, Mr. Chairperson, ICOMOS wishes to present its comments on the state of conservation of the property. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. And now the floor goes automatically to ICOMOS. ICOMOS, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The maritime mercantile city of Liverpool continues to face strong challenges associated with an approved large-scale planning consent. ICOMOS has participated in joint World Heritage Centre and ICOMOS missions to the property in 2006 and 2011 and 2015. Over this period, there has been progress in improving the state of conservation of the property through repair and reuse of historic buildings and structures which were previously at risk. However, these conservation works cannot compensate for the major adverse impact on the outstanding universal value of the property resulting from progressive overdevelopment within the property itself and within the buffer zone arising from the Liverpool Waters Outline Planning Consent, which includes buildings, locations and envelopes which are not consistent with retaining the outstanding universal value of the property. ICOMOS and the committee have consistently advised that the subject approval, which is valid until 2042, and specifically the scale of the proposed development, would fundamentally adversely affect the outstanding universal value of the property. The statement of outstanding universal value for the property expresses concerns that the height of any new construction in the property should not exceed that of structures in the immediate surroundings. The committee originally considered the Liverpool Waters scheme at its 35th session in 2011, expressed its extreme concern and recommended that it should not proceed, noting that English Heritage, as it was then, regarded the scheme as significantly damaging for the OUV of the property. The potential impact on OUV of the Liverpool Waters scheme was noted in the 2012 Liverpool City Council Officers Report to Council's Planning Committee, which also advised of potential impact on the property and noted concerns of English Heritage, mission experts and the committee. The property was inscribed on the list of World Heritage in danger in 2012 because of the danger to outstanding universal value presented by Liverpool Waters. At every session since, the committee has expressed its concern and requested that the scheme be subject to very substantial modification. This has not occurred, and large-scale projects continue to be approved. There have been a range of projects in the buffer zone approved and announced very recently, such as the 34-storey motor tower, the 27-storey Avatus 1. 3 27 to 23-storey Infinity Triple Tower high-rise scheme is adjacent to the buffer zone, and a new football stadium is proposed on the waterfront at Bramley Moor Dock within the property. While there may be individual heritage assessments and merits-based decisions for specific projects, it is the ongoing, incremental, cumulative consequence which is giving effect to the threat posed to OUV. The evolving impact is greater than the cluster of towers or changes to the setting of important elements such as the Three Graces. It is also a fundamental change to the visual quality and integrity of the docks, bearing in mind that the property was inscribed as a maritime mercantile city and port. The State Party has prepared and submitted a number of documents which it calls desired state of conservation for removal reports, the most recent in November 2016. But this document does not specify a desired state of conservation, nor provide appropriate corrective measures. It is rather a statement of process to be followed within the existing outline approval. An effective statement on desired statement of conservation for removal should actually identify and require protection of important views, link the strategic city development vision to regulatory planning, and specify actual heights and built form envelopes for new development, among other things. In other words, the DSCOR needs to express the desired state. As already noted by the committee, the final DSOCR should precede finalisation of the planning tools and regulatory framework, including revision to the supplementary planning document and the Liverpool plan approval. The preparation of a revised, outcomes-focused, desired state of conservation for removal, which identifies precisely how the approved scheme should be refined to protect the outstanding universal value of the property, is now of the utmost urgency to inform necessary major changes to the Liverpool Waters scheme prior to consideration of any further detailed planning proposals or approvals. ICOMOS regrets the misalignment between the obligations of the state party and the obligations of the local planning authority to consider and determine applications, resulting in continual approval of developments which incrementally impact OUV. Further approval and construction of major developments within the property and its buffer zone should not proceed before the SOCR is finalised and approved and relevant corrective measures have been taken. Finally, Mr Chair, ICOMOS recognises the huge difficulty in the circumstances which have now been created, and that the necessary changes, including very substantial reductions to the allowable development, are not something within the power of the state party. It can only be achieved through engagement, negotiation and agreement between the principal stakeholders, in particular Liverpool City Council and the developer Peel Holdings. Thank you, Mr Chair.
Thank you. And it's time now to invite the committee members to express their comments. Portugal, the first. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And this is an issue that sincerely pains me. I must say it from the outset. We've been going on and on with this dossier for I don't know how many years, and we profoundly regret the almost total absence of progress in what seems to be the unwillingness of the state party to properly address the serious concerns raised by the committee over these years and therefore implement its consecutive decisions. I'm particularly surprised to hear that the argument put forward by the state party for the total paralysis on this matter is that under UK's law it is unable to accede to the committee's request to limit the granting of planning permissions. Furthermore, the state party is still to submit a proper revised desired state of conservation for the removal of the property from the list of World Heritage in danger, with appropriate corrective measures. After everything we have heard from ICOMOS, is there still some hope that the state party wants to work for the salvation of the remaining OUV of this property? Or are we already in the countdown mode for the deletion of this property from the World Heritage List at our next committee session in 2018? I believe, Mr. President, that these are the real questions. Now, should the state party say today that it's really committed to work fully with the committee and abide by its decisions, you can count on us to help them. But if their choice is elsewhere, it would save our time and energy if the UK clarified their position on this matter without further ambiguity. I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Lebanon. Lebanon has the floor. The floor is...
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. As the distinguished ambassador of Portugal has said, we have been discussing this dossier since 4 years. Every year the committee regrets, requests, etc., etc., etc. I have a question. Do we still believe that there will be some change in the plans? Do we still believe that the state party will take measures to stop what has been planned and what has been already done? I think that really this is doubtful. If this was possible, it would have been done before. Today, we are probably in a situation which is irreversible. An irreversible situation where we are faced with a dilemma. What do we do with this property? As the distinguished ambassador of Portugal says, we are probably on the eve of being forced to delete the property from the list. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Finland. Finland has the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Finland welcomes the news that all stakeholders are fully informed and recognize the committee's serious concern over the potential threat of the Liverpool Waters development scheme to the outstanding universal value of the property. It is, however, worrying that the state party still has failed to specify a desired state of conservation. We can accept the fact that within the United Kingdom's legislative framework, the state party is unable to accede the committee's request to limit the granting of planning permissions. What we cannot accept is that the desired state of conservation has been pending since 2013. Part of the problem seems to be hidden behind the fact that the state party is not, for partly understandable reasons, able to produce the document that ICOMOS is asking for. In order to be able to submit a revised desired state of conservation by the 1st of February 2018, the state party should urgently continue the dialogue with ICOMOS and look for possible ways to resolve the issue. But like already has been said by Portugal and Lebanon, also we would like to hear from ICOMOS if there still in their point of view is any hope for this site for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. The Republic of Korea has the floor now. Korea, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The World Heritage Committee has examined the case of Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City since 2013, and the current developments taking place within the property have been cited numerously to adversely affect the OUB of the property. We do understand the needs of a city thriving with citizens has to keep up the economic sustainability. However, as repeatedly underlined within our own documents and policies, such developments need to happen whilst respecting the heritage values which were recognized at the time of inscription. The committee should strongly urge the state party to respond to the repeated requests of finalizing a desired state of conservation for the removal of the property from the danger list, and to provide enough and ample time to halt ongoing developments until corrective measures can be outlined as appropriate, as already requested in the draft decision. The Republic of Korea counts on the strong efforts of the state party with good faith. Thank you.
Thank you. The floor goes to Turkey. Turkey, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Having remembered the discussions last year, we deeply regret about being informed that there has been no further improvement in finalization of desired state of conservation in adequate quality since the last year, despite the deep concerns in that regard. It's very unfortunate that there is still not an approved desired state of conservation since the property's inscription in the danger list. Even worse, it's quite disappointing and worrying to read that within the United Kingdom legislative framework, the state party is not able to comply with the committee's request to limit the granting of planning permission for Liverpool water project. Proposals for delisting of the property from the World Heritage List is not welcomed, of course. Delisting should only be applied if an actual and ascertained damage and loss of OUV is occurred. However, if the state party has no sufficient management capacity to sustain the OUV of the property, delisting must be an option to sustain credibility of the list. In that regard, we approach with great concern to the statements of the state party with regard to the impossibility of revoking planning consent and limiting the granting of planning permission. Having read the SOC report submitted by the state party, we see that the state party is still committed to the further collaboration with the World Heritage Center and ICOMOS. On the other hand, Mr. Chairperson, we would like to remind the members of the committee the discussions about the Dresden Elbe Valley during the 33rd session in Sevilla. While many of the members underlined the fact that the property had already lost its OUV to sustain its presence on the list, some others highlighted the power and the role of the Convention in protecting the properties against such ambitious developments. Since taking such a tough decision would possibly challenge the members of the committee at its next session again, before moving forward, we would like to know about the position and stance of the state party as to whether it will continue to implement committee decisions. To conclude, We support the draft decisions as to retaining the property on the World Heritage List in danger until the required studies are completed and the committee is satisfied by the state of conservation of the property as well as the efforts of the state party. But recommendation for further delisting should be reviewed by the advisory body and the committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Philippines, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Excellency.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We support the remarks made by the Ambassador of Portugal and the delegate from Lebanon. It is imperative that states parties respect in good faith the decisions of the committee. We think it is appropriate, given the lack of progress and engagement from the state party concerned, for us to consider removing the property from the World Heritage List to reach closure on this matter. We need to stop delaying this decision and send a resolute message to the state party if indeed there is no impetus to agree on a desired state of conservation for the property and remove it from the danger list. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Excellency. And now the floor goes to Jamaica. Jamaica, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jamaica notes that the state party submitted a desired state of conservation report in late 2016, which still does not provide appropriate corrective measures. The committee has repeatedly expressed concern over the potential threat of the proposed Liverpool waters development and noted that as planned it would irreversibly damage the attributes of the OUV and conditions of integrity. Mr. Chair, Jamaica is deeply concerned about the dynamic issues surrounding the site, and it is particularly worrying that if the state party does not stop the granting of planning permits, which have a negative impact on the OUV of the property, the site faces possible removal from the World Heritage List. Thank you.
Thank you. And now the floor goes to Poland. Poland, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The urban pressure and changes it brings to the character of World Heritage properties, their integrity and authenticity were reported today morning as a major threat to the World Heritage properties. It's a common problem, and Liverpool is one of the examples. Poland shares the concerns and echoes what was said by Portugal, Lebanon and others. The city does need a wise regeneration policy with inhabitants of Liverpool in the heart of it. But we do have doubts that the Liverpool watershed scheme brings any benefits to the Liverpoolians. We don't see a solution at the moment, but are also convinced that we must find a way to stop further transformation and degradation of the city's historic special structure and its character. Thank you.
Thank you. So now the floor should go to the state party, to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I wonder if the respected state party wishes to take the floor. Yes, I can recognize you. So if you could kindly respond to the questions and to the points underlined. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The UK Government is grateful to the Committee, the World Heritage Centre and the advisory bodies for the attention they have devoted to Liverpool's World Heritage status since it was first placed on the danger list. It is a matter of deep regret to us that Liverpool remains on the danger list and that deletion is even being contemplated in 2018. But I do see some cause for optimism. Following the recent general election in the UK, we have a new Heritage Minister who has made clear that we should redouble our efforts to strengthen the stewardship of all of the UK's World Heritage sites, and that protection and enhancement of the OUV should be our guiding star. This will require stronger cooperation between central and local government, and I'm delighted that the Lord Mayor of Liverpool, Councillor Malcolm Kennedy, is here today to demonstrate Liverpool City Council's desire to work with us in addressing the range of issues facing the property. In the last decade, Liverpool has reduced the number of buildings at risk by 75%. As has been mentioned, we have a new management plan for Liverpool, which I would note states that, quote, ICOMOS guidance on heritage impact assessments for cultural World Heritage properties has now been formally adopted by the Council for all development within the World Heritage Site and buffer zone. And earlier this year, Liverpool was designated by the European Union as a heritage role model, a designation which will support community engagement with the World Heritage Site. The UK Government recognises and greatly values the role civil society plays in protecting all of our World Heritage Sites. We are encouraged by the involvement of civil society in the World Heritage Watch meeting here in Krakow. This included people who live and work in Liverpool, who value its World Heritage status and are working hard to retain it. None of this is to deny that there remain real challenges to be faced and tough decisions to be made. We fully recognise and accept that the views expressed today by the committee and the views of the advisory bodies have genuine substance to which we must respond clearly and energetically. So I would take this opportunity to reassure the distinguished members of the committee that the State Party is committed and is determined to take measures to address the decisions of this committee and the advisory bodies. The State Party has had useful discussions with representatives of the World Heritage Centre and advisory bodies even yesterday, and we fully intend to continue that dialogue as we refine the desired state of conservation for removal prior to next year's committee meeting, by which time I hope you will approve that DSOC and come to share our view that deletion would not be the right way forward. In the meantime, my Minister has asked me to echo the Mayor of Liverpool's invitation to every member of the committee to visit Liverpool in the next 12 months and to see in person how its OUV is being protected and enhanced. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's hope. And now I'm passing the floor back to ICOMOS. ICOMOS wishes to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will respond briefly to the interventions from the members of the committee and the specific question that was put to ICOMOS. Having heard the Honourable Delegate for the United Kingdom and responding to the question about is there any hope from the Honourable Delegate from Finland, I would say that ICOMOS is hopeful but not optimistic at this point. And that would be because virtually all of the major developments that are so problematic are not yet built. And while that is the case, of course, there is hope. There is also, as the UK delegate indicated, a very strong civil society interest within Liverpool in ensuring that the property is not removed from the World Heritage List, and I know there are a number of Liverpudlians who have journeyed to Krakow specifically to articulate and express that view, and that they are here in the chamber. The issue is, and has been for some time, the nexus between the relative constitutional powers and roles of the UK State Party, Liverpool Council and the developer. So as I indicated in the first intervention from ICOMOS, everything is going to hinge on whether or not those parties can actually reach agreement to change the nature and scale of the development. There is an opportunity for the UK as state